Cherry blossom
Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajeem. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Ji ayanu pakhair agale ni hao junushumme washmale. Ohaya Gonzaimas, Guten Morgen. Hola, bonjour, privyet, kaifa hal? Hale shuma chutori, ahlan wa sahlan, marhaba, buna mucho gracias, wabia balli kare aya. Hoş geldin arayo sayo, khuyamora chi batto chi hal jod kali mera khairutan. And a very warm welcome to everybody who's tuned into PTV World and watching War this morning. Jummah Mubarak, since this Jummah actually happens to be Jummatul Wida, please make sure that you take full advantage of it. With me, I'm really lucky that I've been joined by my very well-learned colleague who happens to be Miss Hajra Satti. Hello Hajra, Assalamu alaikum, Jummatul Wida Mubarak.
Walaikum assalam. Thank you so much. Jazakallah khair. Jummah Mubarak to everyone in the entire Muslim Ummah who's observing this last Jummah of this last Ramazan of this particular year. And we hope and pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blesses us with His mercy and accepts our fast. So now we will move on to another very interesting news in which there are sporadic eruptions witnessed in the volcanoes, resumes in the Hawaii. The most active volcano in the Hawaii has started erupting again. According to Hawaiian Volcano Observatory, molten rock began pouring out of the vent in the Mount Summit caldera, but the lava was contained within it and did not affect residential areas. The volcano has been erupting on and off since December 23, 2024, shooting tall fountains of lava into the air. The spectacle is a popular attraction for the tourists.
And that's exactly what I'm still unable to figure out. You know, people spend like millions of rupees to kind of go and take pictures over there as well. So, you know, I don't know. You know, because I think it's such a natural phenomenon that to see from your own eye is something that you'll be mesmerized with. But not just that, I think from volcano, I'm going to take you straight to the skies where a mysterious glowing spiral was spotted in the skies over several European countries following a SpaceX rocket launch from the US. According to the UK National Meteorological Service, the spiral was likely produced by a frozen plume of fuel from Falcon 9 rocket's exhaust, which reflected the sunlight and appeared to spin in the atmosphere. The cloud-like shape was visible for several minutes above the United Kingdom and elsewhere in Europe before fading. And that's where we really need to be making sure that, you know, that we are climate resilient. I mean, I don't know if the few leftovers are actually reflecting sunlight. Not a good news.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of speculations about it. Some are saying, you know, whether it's a UFO, some are saying whether it's an alien spotting. I don't know what is the reality. Only Allah knows better. But now, since you mentioned this Jummatul Wida, we have seen a massive congressional crowd flocking to Masjid al-Aqsa in Palestine. Nearly 200,000 to lakh Palestinians perform prayers at Al-Aqsa Mosque. Subhanallah. Despite tight restrictions put in place by Israel, around 200,000 Palestinians performed their evening and Taraweeh prayers on the 26th day of the Ramadan at Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem. Thousands of worshippers stayed at the mosque overnight to observe Laylatul Qadr. According to Jerusalem Waqf and Al-Aqsa Mosque Affairs Department, it was one of the highest numbers of the worshipper at Al-Aqsa Mosque during the holy month. What a blessed and beautiful spectacle to behold. And I feel so ashamed of myself sitting here in my own comfort, in my own luxury, while I see the spirit of prophetic tradition in the Palestinian people. And I see that despite the oppression, despite the brutality, they are still flocking to the Qibla Awal Masjid al-Aqsa, alhamdulillah. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also give me the same courage to stand up against the oppression, that too in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Inshallah, and for now, whatever has been in our capacity, alhamdulillah, we've been making sure may it be on television, on personal level as well. But in addition to this, there's a reason why I have these flowers in my hand today. And the reason being is that obviously, you know, earlier we were in conversation with the DG Environment, you know, of the Capital Development Authority. We spoke about how mulberry trees, paper mulberry trees will be cut down and there will be 10,000 new trees to come in of Lucat or figs or, you know, or whatever we are indigenous to. I mean, not just that, I think what we really need to kind of speak about over here is how is our agriculture result. Now, for that matter, we do know how when we were growing up in our social studies and everywhere, whenever we used to study about Pakistan, that, you know, we are an agrarian country, you know, our economy is dependent on that. But when we see the West, in comparison to how Pakistan is actually not kind of capitalized on the land that is available to us, and what were the reasons behind it is something that we would want to explore, and what is the role of PARC in all of this. So to kind of have this conversation, we're very lucky that we have been joined by Chairman PARC, who happens to be Dr. Ghulam Muhammad Ali. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Ramazan Mubarak.
Walaikum assalam, Shahzad and Hajra. You know, the Friday, last Friday Mubarak.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Ramazan Mubarak once again to you, sir. So, Dr. Ali, we would like to kickstart our conversation. Like Shahzad mentioned, Pakistan is an agrarian society, but nowadays, because of the climatic changes, we do see that agriculture is really at the brunt of these sort of very enormous weather patterns, right? What is PRC doing to protect our environment from such sort of changes and making more climate resilient crops maybe? You know, I don't know, you are the expert. Please explain to us.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me here. You know, the Pakistan Agriculture Research Council is a apex organization on the federal level, and our mandate is to do the research in all areas of agriculture. So it comes the crops, animals, you know, the fisheries and machinery, so whatever, and horticulture, vegetables and fruits, and so all that, and even we are working on the water efficiency, high efficiency system as well. So recently we introduced the new technologies and, you know, the modern technologies in Pakistan Agriculture Research Council, so that we can do the research at par with the international organizations as they do. We introduce aeroponic facility, breeding facility, you know, the speed breeding facility, as well as, you know, in the last few days, the Prime Minister of Pakistan
actually inaugurated the aeroponics complex.
Inaugurated that aeroponic facility for, you know, the potato seed production. So, you know, for potato seed production, normally we import you know, the around 5 to 6 billion Pakistani rupees from other countries, Holland and China and so on, to grow our crop. But due to this facility, so we can save that that money as well, and, you know, so that will be just like 1% of our requirement. So if we will go for 100% requirement of our seed production, so then we need around 600 billion Pakistani rupees. So this intervention is very important, so which we introduce over here. And the secondly, you know, the Genomics Institute, National Institute for Genomics and Advanced Biotechnology. So I established myself when I came from abroad, that institute. And from that institute, as you are talking about, you know, the climate resilient varieties, so we developed the rice, climate resilient rice varieties, high yielding varieties. Normally we import, you know, the hybrid from abroad, you know, other countries for seed production. But over here, so we high yielding varieties we introduce in the country, so that the farmer can keep those
Exactly,
varieties.
and that's exactly what I would want to touch upon, sir. Now imagine that we do see how, you know, with, you know, probably even countries which are not agrarian, what they have done is that they have ventured into, you know, vertical farming. You know, so what they're doing is that they are capitalizing on the space that is available to them, and there are more newer techniques coming in as well. How do you think that, you know, Pakistan will be able to kind of capitalize on the land available, may it be vertical farming or, you know, the yield per acre precisely?
So it's a really very important question you made. You know, the smart farm agriculture is a very important because just to save the land.
True.
So, you know, so I have another idea that if we'll do this, you know, the like other countries, they are going vertically, you know, the building the houses and colonies, and, you know, the 40 you know, the different tags and so on. And in Pakistan, we need to save our productive agriculture land is a very important. True. Because so we must have any law for that, so that we are making, you know, the several.
Right.
I think
I
that
don't,
requires a very
I
close
don't
to
want to
Hajra.
name that those colonies.
Right.
But so I always think that only one or two people are living, and we don't the sacrifice
Sir, everybody knows how field of mangoes were actually being onslaughted as well, and
But
I think everybody's aware.
Yeah.
I said there were lots of streams of thoughts in your conversation, and I would like to pick up on the water security aspect that you're managing, right? So we do know that whenever we talk about the security, the definition is expanded to incorporate water security into its definition, right? And we've seen that Pakistan is a country, that is very vulnerable to water insecurity, and there are traditional water preservation systems. For example, in Balochistan, there's a Kares system. It's one of the ancient systems through which water was coming up. There's also similar system in probably in DI Khan and these areas, right? But we do see that local farmers, they have dug up so many channels that that entire water system or within the mountain canal system has dried up, right?
True.
And because of that, we are witnessing that the water tables are depleting, and generally there is an insecurity of the water. So what is your organization doing addressing this particular concern? Are we witnessing some ground action taking place to conserve the water in those areas?
Yes, it's a very the sensitive question. For agriculture, so the two things are very important: the land and the water. So around 9 million hectare land we have, so which we can grow, but we are not growing. Why? So we are not growing because of the water. So around 30 to 40 million acre feet water, so we are throwing into the ocean every year. So if we'll preserve that water, so then we can grow, we can grow in Balochistan as well, and the remaining, in Sindh and South Punjab and everywhere we can grow our crops and so on. So although we are working on the high efficient irrigation system, drip irrigation system, RDI system and pivot and all that, but we need to have like a reservoir, big reservoir for whenever you travel towards Gilgit-Baltistan or so you can see how the water is running from that side.
Upstream.
So from upstream. So that water we need. Otherwise, the most important is the food security.
True.
From any other security, the food security is very important. So if we want to make our country like a food secure, so then we must need to make a legislation for our land and also for the water.
And it will be, sir, very unfortunate, God forbid, if that's the kind of menace that we are actually expecting for ourselves, in days to come, for a country where their economy's larger bit is being generated from agriculture, and for that country to be at risk, I think we really need to kind of have that legislation. Very, I think, apt point. But sir, in addition to this, certainly we've spoken about water, and this will take our conversation towards climate change and how climate resilient, our crops are now. So what I would want to kind of speak about is that how do you communicate? Because imagine that with climate change, we have seen the change in weather. So the time where we used to sow some sort of seeds as well has actually kind of moved probably a month ahead or a month prior to that, and making sure that, that there are enough rains as well, because not all regions actually have the canal system. So how are we working on that? And, how are we making sure that we are going to be in communication with the farmers and that we educate them कि बेटे ये करने की ज़रूरत है, ये नहीं करना है.
Yes, as I said before, that we established National Institute for Genomics and Advanced Biotechnology. Through those technology, DNA-based technology, so we are developing the climate resilient varieties, the drought tolerant and the heat tolerant, and we are trying to pyramid the different traits and characteristics into the varieties.
Yep.
So, but it's also very important to make awareness to the farmer, so that the timing of the crop growing. So the last year, so what happened in the rice field? So it was really a very bad situation. That was because they grown the crop in the earlier, and then during the June and July,
no rain,
the lot of heat, due to high temperature, the crop lost their yield. So this institute is also aeroponic facility, and the Genomics Institute, also the Prime Minister inaugurated that. So not only the crops, but also we are working in the animal breed improvement as well for genetic breed improvement for the animals, and also the vaccine development.
Wonderful.
Because it's a very important, because if the, we just started that work, so it must be, we must start like a 30 years before for that. If the, the Brazilian cattle is giving, the 12,000
Liters.
the per lactation period,
Yeah,
and
lactation.
also, then Australian and other. So we must improve our the animals also,
And the
so that
production
we'll
too.
get the maximum
Right.
yield from the milk.
Right. Dr. Ali, I would want you to expand on a very interesting, conception of your thought, which is the inauguration of the aeroponics complex at National Agriculture Research Center, right? And I do believe that it relates to, the preservation or the protection of the potato crops. So please explain and expand on this point, what is it meant for, and how are you making sure that, farmers are protected under this institute?
As I said before, that we are importing the potato seeds from Holland and other countries. So the similar technology, this is the first ever technology in Pakistan we introduced, because when the first generation, the nuclear seed we produce, so as the generation goes up, in the fifth or sixth generation, the yield compromises with the so that's the reason we introduced this, this facility, that if we will provide the earlier generation to the farmers, so not only we save the our money which we are sending to the other countries, but also we will get the 30 to 40% more yield if we will give the earlier generation to the farmer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And sir, in addition to this, I think that there's another important aspect as well, and that is that now imagine me and Hajra and our program, our entire team, we always make sure that that we speak about the well-being of our nation. And we have seen how we have encountered so many issues just because of the fact that we do know that how there is malnourishment, stunted growth in our country. You're at the grassroots level of producing what the nation is going to eat, right? Now imagine that I was in conversation with one of the growers where he told me that that because of the whatever pesticides or whatever they use, the entire chemical composition of the soil is changing. How do we actually kind of secure that, number one? Number two, if we move on towards animal and how we want to actually kind of produce more, there is this factor of growth hormones being injected to them. Do you think that we will come back to practices where we make it more organic rather than more chemical?
Yeah, so it's a very important, because the pesticide, all diseases comes in our our community. So these are due to these chemicals. These chemicals are very harmful for our, because especially the soft organ, they damage our soft organs.
Yep.
So when we are using, there's a lot of chemicals, and we also make the awareness to the farmers so that not to use these. And when we are using the variety development in through these technologies, we are also introducing the resistance in the crop against the pest, against the insects, and against the diseases as well. So if we will use the earlier generation potato, for the production of the potato, so I have seen the comparison of the earlier generation and the latest generation. So it has a more capacity to resist against the diseases and against the insects.
True.
So this is very important.
And sir, how are you coordinating all of this with the other provincial stakeholders as well? How does that work?
So we have very close collaboration with the provincial institutions and the universities as well. We trained the young scientists also in high-tech area. As I said, that we introduce the different new technologies and genome-based varietal development, and also the genetic improvement of the livestock, and also the drone technologies, the new technology and software, and we are doing the capacity building as well. So we invite the people from the provinces and the universities and students as well, and also the farmers to make awareness for and whatever the technology we introduce. So ultimately, this benefit goes to the
Exactly.
provinces.
Alhamdulillah, sir, for doing so much, and thank you so much for coming to our show, for shedding light on such an important topic, because like Shahzad mentioned, Pakistan is an agrarian society, and I think organic crops are one of the important selling points, because it is very undervalued as compared to the West, because we do see that there is diffusion of so much genetically modified food, and we are witnessing the health effects of that. But I think we are lucky in Pakistan that we can get organic growth here, and this is one of the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So now we will move on to Ramzan around the globe, and today we are going to see the visuals coming from the Saudi Arabia, since it's the last Ashra. So many people have
500,000 plus people.
Yes, they're going there, they're offering their itikaf, they're observing the Laylatul Qadr, and today happens to be Friday, and like Shahzad mentioned, it's the last Friday of the Ramadan, so they're going to be offering the prayers. So let's go and let's see that spiritual flocking of the congregation prayers in Saudi Arabia.
I do pray today, Alhamdulillah, that that probably next Ramadan that we get to be in Saudi Arabia, in Makkah and in Medina, and that we get to pray over there, inshallah. ये छुट्टी लेनी आपने मैडम सुना अगले साल inshallah.
Inshallah, inshallah. Now we will move on to resolving our cooking conundrum. आज क्या पकाऊं? So in order to resolve that crisis, we do have a recipe from the dietitian Durre Samin. Let's go and let's take a look.
Episode 15 creamy pasta salad. अगर आप वेट लॉस डाइट में बोरिंग से ग्रीन सैलेड्स खा खा के बोर हो गए ना, देन ट्राई दिस क्रीमी पास्ता सैलेड. इस सैलेड के सारे इंग्रेडिएंट्स आपको अपने किचन से मिल जाएंगे, और इस सैलेड में कितनी कैलोरीज है उसके लिए कैप्शन रीड कर लें. अगर आपको ये लगता है कि आलू खाने से आपका वेट गेन हो जाएगा तो आपको गलत लगता है, क्योंकि डिपेंड ये करता है कि आप किस फॉर्म में और कितनी क्वांटिटी में ले रहे हैं. सलाद ड्रेसिंग के लिए मैंने शुगर फ्री सॉसेस यूज किए. If you love this recipe, then hit the follow button. Dan Weight Loss Recipe Series Episode 15 Creamy Pasta Salad. अगर आप वेट लॉस डाइट में बोरिंग से ग्रीन सैलेड्स खा खा के बोर हो गए.
All right, wow. I think as of now, ladies and gentlemen, after we have solved this problem, the other problem is the weather is going to be on Monday, or is it going to be on Tuesday?
Yeah. Oh, is it Tuesday? Is it Sunday or Monday? No.
I think it's Monday or Tuesday.
Okay, okay. I really don't know about that. But in order to resolve this moon sighting conundrum, we are very glad that we have been joined by Zain Rahim, who happens to be a researcher in SUPARCO. Assalamu alaikum, Zain, and Ramazan Mubarak to you.
Wa alaikum assalam, and Ramazan Mubarak to you as well, and thank you so very much for inviting me on your show.
Zain, Jummah Mubarak, and thank you so much for joining us. Wonderful to have you over here. We've spoken on multiple occasions. I've hosted events for SUPARCO, and I do know how at the technological front you guys are 100% accurate. Now, unfortunately, I think to solve or resolve this issue, I mean, why can't SUPARCO be like, hey, you know what, it's going to be on Monday? Why can't you be sure or give out a statement or rule out a statement?
You see, the announcement of a new moon is basically given to the Ru'yat Hilal Committee, which is an official institute which announced the sighting of the new moon. So what SUPARCO does is basically assist the Ru'yat Hilal Committee whether there are chances of the visibility of the new moon or not. So what we can do is we can analyze the data, we can explain the situation, what are the chances in which part of the country the moon will be visible. All of this information is forwarded to the Ru'yat Hilal committee, and then it is up to the Ru'yat Hilal committee based on the witnesses which they actually judge to announce the commencement of a new moon.
Right, and Zain, do you believe that, because a lot of people, and especially SUPARCO, I'm not pretty sure, but if you want to bust this myth, because they have predicted the Eid to fall on Monday, right? So do you believe that, we are going to have an Eid on this Monday? What are your calculations through which you are going to give this prediction?
ये बता दें कि ईद है पीर वाले दिन ये नहीं है.
There are very highly or likely chances that Eid is going to be on a Monday in all over Pakistan. So because based on the calculation and the data, we can say that there are more chances of the visibility of the moon, because it's going to be very high up in the sky, almost around 14 degrees from the horizon, and as well as the percentage or you can say the visibility is will be somewhere around 2%. So these two parameters are basically very high for any moon to be visible in the sky with naked eye. So if there are some overcast conditions somewhere in some part of the country, maybe in other part of the country where the weather will be clear, this moon will easily be sighted, and there are chances that the moon will be sighted and the announcement of the Eid shall be made. But it's all up to the Ru'yat Hilal committee to announce.
Obviously, but Zain, that's exactly what my question is. Now, imagine if we're investing millions and billions of rupees in this technology, in making sure that whether we can see things in the sky, up in the sky, and eventually, after spending millions and billions of rupees for these technologies to be out there and be helping us, we still have to go back to the Ru'yat Halal committee. Now, number one, I think the question is, okay, that's fine with me, that the Ru'yat Halal committee is there and they certainly want witnesses from people to come in, and then obviously they will announce Eid. But what I would want to know is that I think the only thing which actually tells us that it's Eid is the first day of the moon, right? That's the only thing that actually kind of indicates that Haji bhai Eid hai. So how do you think? Do you think that on the 29th Eve we will be able to sight the moon of 1 day old, or do you think that it will be difficult for us to kind of judge that?
No, it's not like that, that the moon will be 1 day old, because you see the Earth, moon, and the sun, this is a complex system. The moon is orbiting the Earth is then orbiting the sun, and this whole system is moving in the space as well. So you see, and also when we have the orbit of the Earth, the orbit of the moon is slightly tilted with the Earth. So all of these motions creates a very complex situation. So due to that, sometimes we have a very perfect alignment of the sun, moon, and Earth, and we can see the moon, but sometimes we do not have this perfect alignment. And due to that, the situation of the moon changes every month. So for this particular month, where we can see the conjunction is going to take place on the 29th at around 4 p.m. And after the conjunction, which is basically the alignment of the Earth, moon, and the sun. And after that conjunction, the next day, on that day, on the 29th, we won't be able to see, because there's only 2 or 3 minutes difference, or the moon will set before the sun. So on the 29th, we won't be able to see the moon, but when we go to the next day, the 24 hours will be added to that conjunction time from 4 p.m. to the sunset time, and with that, it will be around 27 hours of the moon's age after the conjunction, so that it will create a very big moon, and it will be easily visible after the astronomical twilight. So that is these things are slightly complicated and changes every month. So we cannot say that the moon was 1 day old, or we sighted the 1 day old moon. So this is how it works.
And then one last question before I wrap up this segment, and that is that because the weather is very cloudy nowadays, it was also cloudy while I was commuting from my workplace, so home to workplace. So do you believe that on Sunday it might be cloudy and we are unable to witness the moon because of the cloudy season? And do you think that we will ever be able to reconcile the SUPARCO's reading with the Ru'yat Halal committee? It's a bit tricky question, but generally, what is your analysis?
Zain bhai, naukri bacha ge.
Sir, the thing is that there can be an overcast condition in some part of the country, like in Islamabad, we can have a slightly cloudy. But as we see from the data, it's that the visibility of this moon, particularly to this moon, is all across the country. So right from the northern areas till the southern part of the country, where we have Somyani, Jiwani, and Karachi, if there are certain slight chances of clear sky at the time of the sunset or right after the sunset, the moon will easily be visible. So it is that kind of a moon, and if there are overcast condition in some part of the country, but the rest of the country, some part are clear, there will be the moon can easily be sighted there.
Well, that's wonderful. Thank you so much, Zain bhai, for being with us. Lovely to be in conversation with you.
Right, and Shahzad, so now today happens to be 27th of Ramadan, and according to Islamic calendar, back in 1947, 27th Ramadan was this blessed day, the day of Laylatul Qadr, on the night of the Laylatul Qadr, when we witnessed the holy birth of Pakistan. And it adds a lot of sanctified significance to the creation of our beloved country, Pakistan, that was created in the name of La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, and we choose to build our foundations on the Islamic principles. So in order to we will unfold this conversation, but there is an interesting package. Let's go and let's take a look at, how so many people sacrifice to create this beautiful
and made
country.
by you as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah, wow, wonderful. Let's go, let's take a look.
In life and the property and the religious belief should be fully protected by the state at any cost.
ट्रेन वहाँ से चलाई उन्होंने, तो हम ट्रेन में सवार हुए। मर्द हजरात जो थे वो ऊपर और बच्चे और औरतें कंपार्टमेंट में। फैसलाबाद में तायाबू रहते थे और एक चचा जान हमारे रहते थे, तो हमने उन्हीं के पास जाना था। इतनी पैसे थे हमारे कि हम किराया देकर फैसलाबाद पहुंच जाएं। कैंप में तो हज़ारों लोग थे, गांव के गांव, वहाँ के राइट साइड पे भी लेफ्ट साइड पे भी वो आर्मी वहाँ फिर चलती फिरती रहती थी। एक कर्नल था गोरा, वो बड़ा सख्त था, वो पास नहीं आने देता था इनको हमला करने वालों को। अलबत्ता इसके साथ कहते हैं कि हमारी ट्रेन के साथ पाकिस्तान आर्मी बलोच रेजिमेंट, उन्होंने बहुत हिफाजत की। वो जहाँ भी गाड़ी खड़ी होते थे फौरन वो उतर जाते थे, इधर से उधर उधर से इधर चौकन्ने रहते थे। हम लोग तो ट्रेन में आए ना, कुछ लोग ऐसे भी थे कि जो काफिले की सूरत में पाकिस्तान आए, पैदल चलकर। बैलगाड़ियाँ थी जिनके पास, वो बैलगाड़ियों में को बैठ गए, बच्चे वगैरह औरतें वगैरह। तो जब ये पहुँचे हैं वहाँ दरिया ब्यास, वहाँ पुल था रेलवे का, तो ये काफिला वहाँ पहुँचा। रात को ये वहाँ ठहरे, रात हो गई तो रात को फ्लड आ गया उसमें दरिया में। उसने कहा काफ़ी उसमें लोग बह गए, तो इंसानी यानी जिंदगियाँ भी काफ़ी ज़ाया हुई, वो सामान वगैरह भी उनका सारा बह गया। तो मैंने फिर जब हम ट्रेन में बैठे हुए तो मैंने ये देखा था कि वहाँ ढांचे बैल गए भैंसों के और सामान बिखरा पड़ा हुआ है।
And that's exactly, I think, that the story that I have lived with as well. Because if I go back in time, Hajra, because first of all, obviously, it's a beautiful, depiction of how so many people were displaced and it was difficult for them. But if I go 6 or 7 generations back, we were Sikh Rajputs in Hoshiarpur. And my dada still tells me that, that when it was the day of independence and how the families were moving because there were no cell phones. Yes. So my dada and my nana, I mean, they were obviously friends back in those days as well, came to the train station to Pakistan, and then one of his brothers, he left him back at the place where, so how things were that, whatever house you find, if it's empty, it's yours, so that's how things were. So my dada looked for a bigger house, it was a big house, whatnot, he left his brother, and they would go back to the train station to see if someone else from the family has arrived. It was a painful moment, not everybody actually arrived or made it to Pakistan as well. But meanwhile, when he got back to the same home where he left his brother, he found out that even the brother's gone as well. So we lost the house. You know, for all of those people to kind of go through all of these displacements, but eventually coming to a sovereign land where you could, you know, practice your religion is something which is great. In addition to this, I think when we speak about the constitution of this holy land we call Pakistan, I think people who are at the helm of affairs kind of need to realize. So I think this should actually bring you that sanctity and the authenticity and the spirituality of why the country was actually formed. So let's be true to it.
Right. And I think this bloody mass exodus has so many untold stories waiting to be heard, and we are trying to, you know, put voice to those, all of those, I think, drowned voices, I would like to say. But once again, happy birthday, Pakistan. It was this blessed day when Pakistan came into being. And speaking of happy birthday, so there is another beautiful young girl. I have met with her. She's very quiet. I find that, you know, she has a lot of wisdom instilled into her. She happens to be Iman Ashraf. Happy birthday, Iman, and may you have many, many more. And I would like to, I would ask Shahzad and request Shahzad to please sing a birthday song.
Exactly, why not? So Iman, this one's for you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Iman Ashraf. Happy birthday to you. And Iman, there's only one message that I have for you today on your birthday, and please consider it as a gift. Your parents are working day in, day out, and they work really hard, and they make sure that whatever you need and whatever you require is being fulfilled, alhamdulillah, with Allah Almighty's permission and Allah making them the wasila. Please make sure that you always the tandak of their eyes. Make sure that you always obey them, and this will take you to enormous heights in your life, inshallah. So Iman Ashraf, a very happy birthday.
Very happy birthday. And Imam, you have got a great mom, so you need to make sure that, you know, you respect and appreciate her existence, because I'm a great fan of her.
We appreciate her so much, yes.
Alhamdulillah. And so now we are ending our program. Until next time, it's a goodbye. Jummah Mubarak once again to everyone, and Ramazan Mubarak.
Dua mein yaad rakhiye. Allah Hafiz.
Thank you.